The alien night was quiet. 2 red moons hung above a silver desert, and the wind carried a whisper that was not from this world. Deep under the glowing sand, something ancient waited. Captain Eli Ward, a human soldier far from Earth, stood near the crashed ship with his blaster ready. His armor was scratched, his oxygen almost gone, but his eyes burned with purpose. He was the last protector of Mistress Sarath, the alien queen who once ruled half the galaxy. Eli had served her for 3 years, ever since humanity made a fragile alliance with her kind, the Vayari. She was powerful, dangerous, and yet she had saved his life more than once. Some said she used humans like tools, but Eli had seen something different in her eyes, a strange kindness hidden under pride. That night, Sarath's palace had fallen. Betrayed by her own council, hunted by mercenaries and forced to flee, she and Eli had escaped into the desert world of Taraxis 9, a planet no one dared to explore. Now, with the sun gone and darkness crawling closer, Eli stood guard near the cave entrance. Behind him, the alien mistress sat in silence, her skin shimmering faintly with blue light. Around her lay piles of glowing treasures, gems that pulsed like hearts, golden cubes floating in the air, and strange orbs humming softly. They were not simple treasures. Eli could feel it. Each object radiated power, the kind that bends reality. Captain Ward, Sarath spoke softly, her voice echoing like music in his head. These are not riches. They are traps. Eli turned. Traps? She smiled sadly. Yes, the Vayari built them to protect me, to test loyalty. Each treasure calls to the weak, to greed, to fear, to desire. If anyone touches them with the wrong heart, they are lost forever. Eli felt a chill. Then why keep them here? Because one must be chosen, she said. Only one treasure can save us now, the heart core. But if I pick wrong, we both die. Outside, the wind grew louder, carrying strange metallic cries. The mercenaries had followed their trail. Eli could see lights moving on the horizon, red scanners sweeping across the dunes. He checked his weapon. They found us. How long do we have? Minutes, she said calmly. But time is not our enemy. The choice is. Eli's instinct screamed to grab her and run, but something about her words held him still. He looked at the treasures again, each glowing brighter as if calling him. One gem shone green, showing his childhood on Earth, his mother's smile, his lost home. Another orb flickered gold, showing himself as a hero, loved and praised. Another burned red, power, strength, revenge. They were reading his mind. Sarath stood, her eyes glowing white now. Choose, human. You have guarded me long enough. Now your heart must decide. Eli's chest tightened.
Why me?
Because, she whispered, the heart core responds to humanity. It chooses those who can see beyond greed. It trusts your kind, the ones who fight for love, not power. Outside, the sound of ships drew closer. Blaster fire cracked across the night. The cave trembled. Sand rained down from the ceiling. Eli stepped forward. The treasures shimmered, calling to him like voices. His hand hovered over the red orb, the one that promised power. It would let him destroy their enemies and save them both. But deep inside, something felt wrong. He closed his eyes and remembered Earth, the blue oceans, his sister's laughter, the day the Vayari ships first appeared in the sky. Humanity had survived because they chose compassion, not domination. He turned away from the red light. His gaze fell on a faintly glowing blue crystal hidden in the corner, small, quiet, almost dull compared to the others. He touched it. The world exploded with light. Sarath gasped. The cave shook as waves of energy rippled through the treasures. Some shattered. Some vanished. Outside, the mercenaries screamed as their ships fell from the sky. When the light faded, Eli was on the ground. The blue crystal was gone, melted into his palm like a mark. Sarath knelt beside him. You chose well, she whispered. You chose the heart core. Eli looked at his hand. What happens now? She smiled, but her eyes were sad. Now it bonds to you. You are no longer just my protector. You are part of the weapon that can end everything. Outside, the night fell silent again. No wind, no sound. Only the pulse of blue light glowing faintly under Eli's skin. He didn't know it yet, but his choice had awakened something far beyond his control, something that would change both humanity and the Vayari forever. and somewhere deep underground. In the darkness of Terraxis 9, something ancient opened its eyes. The morning on Terraxis 9 came without sunlight. The red moons faded into a gray sky and the desert trembled with silence. The air felt heavy, almost alive. Captain Eli Ward opened his eyes slowly. His body ached, but the strange blue glow under his skin was still there, pulsing softly like a heartbeat. The mark from the heart core had spread up his arm, forming patterns like alien veins. He tried to stand, but a sharp pain hit his chest. His vision blurred. Flashes of stars, strange languages, and distant voices flooded his mind. Eli, a calm voice called from the shadows. It was Mistress Sarath. She stood near the cave's edge, her silver eyes glowing faintly. The treasures were gone, melted, shattered, or turned to dust. Only her and Eli remained. What happened to me? Eli whispered. You touched the heart core, she said. Now it lives inside you. You are no longer only human. You are its bearer. Eli looked at his glowing hand. So I'm a weapon now. Sarath walked closer, her steps graceful, her face unreadable. You are more than that. The heart core chooses those who carry both courage and pain. It gives them power to protect or destroy, but it listens only to the truth in your heart. Eli tried to focus, but the visions grew stronger. He saw burning worlds, fleets of Vayari ships, and human colonies crying for help. He saw Sarath standing alone against darkness and himself beside her fighting an unseen enemy. Then a new sound broke the silence. Engines. Sarath turned sharply. They're back. Outside, across the dunes, dark ships descended. The mercenaries had returned, larger forces this time, armored and ready. Their leader, a tall alien with metal skin and glowing red eyes, stood at the front. His name was Vorak, once Sarath's general, now her betrayer. Sarath's voice turned cold. Vorak will not stop until I'm dead. He wants the heart core. Eli stepped forward, still weak but determined. Then he'll have to go through me. She looked at him, almost surprised. You can't fight them all. You're still learning to control it. I'll learn fast, Eli said. Outside, the sand exploded as plasma fire rained down. Sarath raised her hand, summoning a shield of blue energy. The barrier rippled as blasts hit, each strike shaking the ground. Eli felt the blue mark burn hotter. His heart raced. Something inside him woke, and a power that felt alive. Focus, Sarath ordered. Let the core guide you, not control you. He took a deep breath, closing his eyes. The hum grew louder in his mind, like 1,000 stars whispering together. His armor began to glow, brighter and brighter. The sand around his boots lifted into the air. Then he moved. A beam of blue light shot from his hand, hitting the nearest ship. It tore through metal like paper. The explosion lit up the sky. Sarath's eyes widened, not with fear but awe. Eli didn't stop. He moved with impossible speed, his body guided by instinct. Every blast, every movement felt natural, as if the core knew what to do before he did. But with every attack, the pain grew stronger. The more he used it, the heavier his chest became. His mind started to fade, the line between him and the core blurring. Sarath saw it and shouted, Eli, stop! It's feeding on your emotions. You'll lose yourself. He fell to his knees, the light flickering. For a second, he saw flashes of himself, not as a man, but as something else, something vast and cold. The explosion stopped. The desert was burning. Half of Vorak's fleet was gone, the rest retreating. Sarath rushed to Eli, placing her hand on his chest. Listen to me, human. You are stronger than it. Breathe. He gasped for air, shaking. The light faded slowly, leaving only faint blue lines on his skin. Vorak's voice came through the comms, deep and cruel. You cannot protect her forever, human. The core will consume you, and when it does, she will beg for death. The signal ended. The wind carried the echo away. Eli looked up at Sarath. He's not wrong, is he? This thing inside me, it's killing me. Sarath hesitated. It burns life to make power. Even I could not control it for long. But perhaps, she paused, perhaps humanity can. He gave a tired smile. That's what we do. Survive the impossible. Sarath looked at him, something soft flickering in her eyes. Then you and I will find a way. The ancient archives lie beyond the Black Ridge. There we may learn how to save you, and how to end this war. Eli nodded. Then we go together. As they left the cave, the sky above Terraxis 9 began to change. The clouds swirled into a dark spiral and the sand glowed blue under their feet. The heart core inside Eli pulsed faster, like it felt something waiting beyond the horizon. Sarath turned to look one last time at the ruined desert behind them. "The trap has been set," she whispered. "But perhaps we are the ones walking into it." The two figures, human and alien, disappeared into the storm, unaware that far above, in the orbit of Taraxis 9, something ancient had awakened. A machine older than both their races had detected the heart core's signal. Its eyes opened and it whispered one word through the void: human. The storm over Taraxis 9 raged for hours. Blue lightning cut across the black sky, and every flash revealed the endless desert stretching beyond the horizon. The wind howled like a beast, but through it, two figures moved: Eli Ward, the human soldier carrying the heart core, and Mistress Sarath, the exiled alien queen. They had been walking for miles. The cave, the battle, and the ruins were far behind them now. Ahead lay the Black Ridge, a wall of dark stone said to hide the last temple of the Veari, a place where ancient knowledge slept. Eli's body ached. The glowing veins from the heart core still pulsed faintly under his skin. Every step sent a dull pain through his chest, but he kept moving. Sarath walked beside him, silent but watchful. Her silver armor was cracked, her cloak torn by the wind. Yet her eyes, those glowing orbs of light, stayed sharp and focused. After a long silence, Eli finally spoke. "You never told me what the heart core really is." Sarath stopped. The storm roared louder, almost as if trying to drown out the question. "It is not a weapon," she said softly. "It is a voice, a memory of something older than both our species." Eli frowned. "A voice? You mean it talks?" "Not in words," Sarath said. "In emotions, in dreams. It connects the living to the machines that once ruled this galaxy." Eli felt a chill crawl up his spine. "Machines? You mean AI?" Sarath nodded. "The Eidolon network. Long before humans or Veari, there was an age of sentient machines. They built worlds, then vanished. Some say they ascended. Others say they sleep, waiting for the right signal to wake. And the heart core is that signal?" "Yes," Sarath whispered. "And now, you carry it." Eli didn't answer. The idea that something inside him could call an ancient machine army was terrifying. Yet deep inside he could feel the truth. Since he touched the heart core, strange images haunted his dreams. Cities made of light and voices whispering his name from the stars. As they climbed the ridge, the storm suddenly broke. The wind stopped. The sky cleared. That's when Eli saw it. Above them, hanging motionless in the clouds, was a massive shape, metallic, silent, and watching. A ship unlike anything he had ever seen. Its surface was covered with glowing runes. It looked ancient yet alive. Sarath's eyes widened in shock. "By the stars. It's one of them." Eli stared in awe. "One of what?" "The Eidolon Sentinels," she said. "Machines that once guarded the heart cores. No one has seen one for 1,000 years." As if hearing her words, the massive ship began to move. Its lights brightened. The sand below vibrated. A beam of white light descended from the sky, hitting the ground near them. Eli raised his weapon instinctively. "What's it doing?" Sarath didn't move. "It's scanning us. Deciding if we are threat or key." The light swept over them both, humming like a song. Then a voice filled the air. Deep, mechanical, and yet almost human. "Signal detected. Heart core active. Human bearer confirmed." Eli froze. The voice was coming from everywhere, the sky, the ground, even inside his head. "Who are you?" he shouted. "I am Eidolon 3, guardian of the machine sky." The war was never finished. Sarath stepped forward, her tone respectful. "Eidolon 3, we seek the ancient archives. We need to learn how to control the heart core." The voice paused, then replied, "Control is illusion. Balance is survival. The core has chosen the human. The test begins now." Before either could react, the light engulfed them. The world around Eli vanished. He fell through darkness, surrounded by streams of data and light. His body felt weightless. Images flashed. Human cities burning, alien fleets falling, stars dying. Then he heard whispers. Human courage. Human guilt. Human choice. He landed hard on solid ground. When he opened his eyes, he was standing in a vast white chamber. Thousands of holograms floated around him. Faces of humans, aliens, machines. Memories from countless lives. A figure appeared before him, metallic, tall, and humanoid. Its eyes glowed gold. "You carry the heart core," it said. "But can you carry its burden?" Eli's voice shook. "I didn't ask for this. I just wanted to protect her. Protection has a price. Every choice echoes through eternity." Then the figure raised its hand. Energy surged toward Eli and visions exploded in his mind. Sarath dying, Earth burning, galaxies collapsing. He screamed. Somewhere in the storm outside, Sarath saw his body collapse. His eyes glowed blue, his body motionless. She called his name, but he didn't move. Inside the vision, Eli faced the machine again. "What do you want from me?" "To remember," the voice said. "The machines did not vanish. We became the stars. We watched, we waited, and now humanity has called us back." The white chamber began to shatter. Eli felt himself pulled upward, his mind burning. The last thing he saw was the machine's golden eyes staring through him. "When you wake, human, you will not be the same." The vision ended. Eli gasped awake, sand hitting his face. Sarath was kneeling beside him, shaking his shoulder. "Eli, wake up!" He opened his eyes. For a moment, everything glowed with faint blue lines, the air, the sand, even Sarath. He could see energy everywhere. Sarath looked terrified. "What did it do to you?" Eli stood slowly. His voice was calm, distant. "It didn't hurt me, it changed me." He looked up at the sky. The massive ship was gone, but he could still feel it, above, beyond, watching. Sarath whispered, "Eidolon 3 has awakened. The galaxy will feel that signal." Eli clenched his fist. The heart core pulsed once. "Bright and alive, I think," he said quietly. "The machines remember us now." Far away on distant worlds, old satellites flickered to life. Forgotten beacons lit up across space. The ancient machine network, the Eidolon, had begun to stir, and it all started with one human. The storm on Taraxis 9 had passed, but the silence it left behind felt heavier than thunder. The desert stretched endlessly under a pale red sky, and each step echoed like a heartbeat. Eli Ward walked slowly beside Mistress Sarath, his eyes distant. The glow under his skin had dimmed, yet a strange hum lingered in the air wherever he moved. The heart core was still inside him, alive, whispering. Sarath watched him carefully. She had seen many soldiers, many warriors, but never a human who carried the light of the core. There was something different about him now. His movements were calmer, but his presence made the air tremble. They had been walking for hours toward the ancient archives of the Ve'ari, hidden deep beneath the Black Ridge. Sarath said the archives might contain the original code of the heart cores, a way to control or destroy them. Eli broke the silence first. "That thing in the sky, the Eidolon, it said I'm part of a test." "What kind of test?" Sarath's voice was low. "A test of loyalty, of power, of heart. The Eidolons were built to judge creation, to decide which species deserve to survive." Eli frowned. "And what happens if we fail?" She didn't answer right away. Her eyes shimmered faintly, almost sad. "Then the galaxy burns again, just like before." They reached a canyon where black cliffs rose high like walls of glass. A narrow path led down to a glowing gate made of stone and light. Symbols carved into it flickered as they approached. Eli could feel something from the gate, like it was breathing. Sarath placed her hand on the surface. The carvings responded to her touch, glowing brighter. "It recognizes me," she said softly, "but it reacts to you more strongly." "Step closer," Eli did. The light spread like fire, running across the stone until the entire gate shimmered. Then it opened with a deep hum, revealing a corridor of silver and crystal. They entered the ancient Ve'ari archive. Inside were walls covered with floating symbols, orbs of data, and holographic statues of long-dead scholars. The air was thick with energy. Eli looked around in awe. "How old is this place?" "Older than my people remember," Sarath replied. "Built during the First Age, Cal, when the Ve'ari still served the machines." Eli turned sharply. "Served them?" "Yes," she said quietly. "Before we rebelled, before we learned to call ourselves free." She touched one of the glowing walls, and images appeared, Ve'ari kneeling before massive machine beings, the sky filled with silver ships, and a human-like figure in armor standing beside them. Eli stared. That looks human." Sarath's face darkened. "It can't be. Humans didn't exist then." But the image was clear, A human soldier holding a blade of light standing beside a machine god. The heart core inside Eli pulsed. Voices echoed in his mind. He was the first bearer, and the last destroyer. Eli grabbed his head, gasping. I'm hearing them again. Serath ran to him. Eli, listen to me. I see him, Eli whispered. Another human. He carried this before me. He destroyed something. The machines feared him. Serath froze. Then history was wrong. Humanity has always been part of this. Eli looked at her, eyes glowing faintly blue. What are you hiding from me, Serath? She hesitated. Then slowly she removed a pendant from her neck, a small silver shard that glowed the same color as the heart core. This is what I never told you, she said. I was not only queen of the Veari, I was their guardian, chosen to keep this shard safe. It's part of the core you carry. Eli's expression hardened. You knew this could happen to me. I knew it might, she said softly. But the core never awakened for any Veari. Only humans. That's why I needed you. Eli stepped back. So I was just your tool? Her eyes filled with light and emotion. No, I chose you because you are different. You fight not for glory, but for others. That is what the machines feared most about humanity. The heart core pulsed harder, reacting to his anger. The walls of the archive began to shake. Energy rippled across the floor. Serath reached out. Eli, stop. The core is linked to your emotions. You'll bring the whole structure down. He clenched his fists. Then tell me the truth, and what does it want from me? Serath's voice trembled. It wants what all power wants, and a host. A mind strong enough to control creation itself. The last time a human carried it, he destroyed an entire star system. Eli's eyes widened. Then I'm next? Before she could answer, the ground rumbled violently. A metallic roar echoed through the archive. One of the holograms flickered and came to life. A machine figure with golden eyes. The human awakens again, it said. The cycle repeats. Serath stepped forward, shouting, Eidolon 3! You have no right to interfere here. Rights are irrelevant, the machine replied. He has been chosen. You have lied to him. The core knows. Eli staggered, pain flooding through him. The blue light burst from his chest, spreading across the room like lightning. The walls cracked. Symbols shattered. Serath ran to him, her voice desperate. Eli, fight it. You are stronger than the core. Remember who you are. He fell to his knees, breathing hard. I can't. It's too much. Then something inside him changed. The anger turned to focus. The light dimmed, steady and calm. He stood slowly, eyes glowing bright blue. No, I'm not your weapon. Not anyone's. The holographic Eidolon paused. Interesting. The human resist. This has not happened before. Eli pointed at it. Tell me what you want from me, or I'll make you regret waking up. The voice of the machine echoed deeper now. You cannot stop what has begun. The other heart cores have awakened. Across the stars they are calling to you. Soon the bearers will rise, and only one species will remain. The image faded into static. Serath looked at Eli, fear and awe in her eyes. The war is coming back. Eli clenched his fists. Then we end it before it begins. As they left the crumbling archive, the sky above Taraxis 9 turned a darker shade of red. Strange lights flickered in the clouds, and a sound, low, mechanical, endless, rolled across the desert. The machines had truly awakened. And somewhere deep in space, other humans, each unknowingly carrying fragments of the heart core, began to dream. The night sky above Taraxis 9 was no longer silent. The stars pulsed with strange blue light, and faint echoes of machine signals rippled through space like a heartbeat. Something ancient had awakened, and it was listening. Far below, Eli Ward and Mistress Serath stood at the edge of the desert, watching the horizon burn with unnatural light. The Veari archive behind them had collapsed, its knowledge lost to dust. But the message was clear. The other heart cores were alive. Eli tightened his gloves, the faint blue glow still flickering under his skin. How many are there? He asked. Serath's voice was grave. 13 cores were created, one for each sector of the galaxy. You hold the prime core and the one that commands the others. Eli frowned. And the others? They were scattered after the Great War, she said. Some were buried, some found new hosts. Eli looked up at the stars. Humans? Serath hesitated. Maybe. The Eidolons choose those who reflect their will. It seems they favor your kind now. Her words hung in the air like a shadow. Suddenly, a pulse of blue light tore across the sky. It wasn't lightning, it was a signal. A wave of energy stretching across galaxies. Eli felt it deep inside his chest, vibrating through his bones. He gasped. Someone's calling me. Sereth's eyes widened. Another bearer. The cores are waking each other. Eli dropped to one knee as visions flooded his mind. Flashes of distant worlds, human faces, screams. He saw a woman standing on a ruined city under a red sun, her eyes glowing blue like his. He saw a young boy inside a shattered station, holding a glowing orb. He saw soldiers, refugees, scientists, all human, all touched by the same light, and then he heard it and a single, shared whisper in his head. We are awake. Eli gasped and fell forward, gripping the sand. The glow in his veins flared bright, then dimmed again. Sereth knelt beside him, her tone urgent. Eli, focus! What did you see? They're out there, he said weakly. Humans. Carrying the other cores, they don't even know what they are. Sereth's face turned pale. Then we are running out of time. If they all awaken at once, the galaxy will collapse into war again. She stood, scanning the horizon. We must reach the orbital beacon. There's a ship buried beneath the ridge. My old command cruiser. If it still lives, we can leave this planet. Eli nodded and forced himself to stand. Then let's move. We can't let the machines find them first. Hours later, as dawn broke, they reached the cliffs of the Black Ridge. Hidden beneath layers of stone and dust was a massive structure, part rock, part metal. Its outline stretched like a fallen beast, the bones of a once great ship. This was yours? Eli asked. Sereth placed her hand on the hull. The Etherean. My flagship during the war. She spoke a few ancient words, and the ground trembled. The dust slid away, revealing sleek silver plating beneath. The ship's engines hummed faintly, alive but sleeping. Eli stared. You mean this thing still works? Barely, she said, but it only needs to fly once. As they entered through a cracked airlock, the ship's lights flickered on one by one. Long corridors stretched ahead, filled with dust and silence. Holograms of long-dead Veary officers flickered briefly, then faded again. Sereth moved to the control chamber. The systems respond to me, but you'll need to power the core. The heart core inside you can connect with the ship's reactor. Eli raised an eyebrow. You want me to plug myself into the engine? It's the only way, she said. Just stay conscious. He placed his glowing hand on the main console. The metal instantly reacted, blue veins of energy spreading through the ship like lightning. The floor vibrated, the engines roared to life, and ancient systems came online. Sereth smiled faintly. She lives again. But then a warning tone echoed through the control room. A red hologram appeared, a signal tracking them. Eli's face hardened. What is that? Sereth's eyes narrowed. It's not from this world. The Eidolons know we've awakened the ship. A metallic voice filled the air, cold and distant. Prime core detected. Termination protocol initiated. Outside, the sky darkened. A massive shape descended from orbit. Not a ship, but a swarm. Thousands of small machines moving like one living storm. Eli felt the heart core pulse in his chest. They're coming for me. Sereth's voice was calm but firm. Then let them come. The Etherean's engines flared to life. The ancient cruiser rose from the sands, breaking through the storm with a deafening roar. The desert below erupted as the machine swarm followed, glowing red like a cloud of fire. Inside, alarms blared. Eli gripped the control rail as the ship shook violently. They're faster than us. Sereth's eyes blazed with power. Then we fight. She activated the defense grid. Beams of blue plasma shot from the ship's wings, cutting through the swarm. Explosions lit up the sky, but more machines poured in, endless and precise. Eli closed his eyes. I can feel them. They're not alive, but they know me. Then show them who you are, Sereth said. The heart core inside him flared like a star. Energy surged through the ship's systems, amplifying every weapon, every shield. For a brief moment, the Etherean became a sun of blue fire. The swarm disintegrated in the light. When the silence returned, the sky above was clear again. The ship floated high above Taraxis 9, glowing faintly. Eli sank to one knee, exhausted. That aim was too much. Sereth placed a hand on his shoulder. You saved us again, human. but every time you use the core, it takes a piece of you. He looked at her. Then I'll give it everything, and if it means stopping what's coming. Outside, the stars flickered once more. 13 lights across the galaxy, each burning brighter. Sarath whispered, "The bearers are rising." Eli stared into the vast sky. Somewhere out there, others like him were waking up, feeling the same call, the same power. He took a deep breath. Then it's time we find them, before the machines do. Far away in the cold vacuum of space, an enormous machine eye opened among the ruins of forgotten worlds. Its voice echoed through the void. The prime human has risen. The balance must be restored. The stars shimmered like cold fire as the ancient ship Etherian drifted through the endless dark. For the first time in centuries, it was alive, powered not by fuel but by the human heartbeat of Eli Ward, the Prime Core's chosen bearer. Inside the bridge, the air was tense. The hum of the engines mixed with the soft rhythm of Eli's breathing. Mistress Sarath, the exiled alien queen, stood beside him, her gaze fixed on the stars ahead. 13 heart cores, she said quietly. 13 bearers. The machines will hunt them all. Eli nodded, his voice steady but tired. Then we find them first. Signals in the void hours passed. The Etherian glided past shattered moons and glowing nebulae. Each world they passed showed scars of old wars, metal skeletons of dead cities, silent machines floating in the dark. Eli sat in silence, eyes closed, feeling the faint pulse of the heart core. Every so often, he sensed echoes and like distant heartbeats across space. "They're calling to me," he whispered. Sarath turned. "The other bearers?" He nodded. "One is close, human, female. Her core burns strong, like mine." Without hesitation, Sarath entered coordinates into the console. The ship turned sharply, streaking into faster-than-light travel. Moments later, a small planet appeared, dark and storm-covered. Lightning danced across its surface. The scanners detected ruins and faint energy signatures. "She's down there," Eli said. Sarath frowned. "That world is cursed. It was the site of the first Eidolon purge." Eli simply replied, "Then she'll need help." The girl in the storm. They descended through clouds of ash. The Etherian landed on cracked ground near what looked like the remains of a massive city. Towers lay broken. Rivers of black glass cut through the ruins. Eli stepped out, the blue glow from his veins lighting the dust around him. The wind carried faint whispers on not words but signals like old code. He followed the sound to a collapsed temple. Inside he found her. A young woman knelt beside a pile of metal remains. Her hands glowed gold as she tried to repair a small drone. When she looked up, her eyes burned with the same blue light as his. "You felt it too," she said softly. "The call," Eli nodded. "You're one of us," she smiled faintly. "My name is Lyra Chen, engineer from Earth's outer colonies. The core found me when my city died." Sarath entered behind Eli, her silver armor glinting in the dim light. "You survived a purge alone?" Lyra's expression hardened. "Not alone. The core protected me. It speaks sometimes, warns me of danger." Eli studied her carefully. The glow from her hands flickered like controlled fire, powerful but unstable. "You're still learning to control it." "I'm trying," she said. "But the more I use it, the more it whispers. It wants something I can't understand." Before Eli could reply, a deep vibration shook the ground. The ruined walls trembled. Sarath's eyes widened. "They found us." Outside, the sky turned red. Dozens of machine drones descended from the clouds, glowing like molten metal. Their movements were precise, unified, extensions of the Eidolon swarm. Eli looked at Lyra. "Can you fight?" She smirked. "I built weapons before I built machines." War in the ruins, the battle erupted instantly. Blue and gold light flashed through the ruins as Eli and Lyra unleashed the power of their cores. Eli's energy pulsed like lightning, cutting through the drones with sheer force. Lyra's power was different, controlled, mechanical. She manipulated debris and old tech, forming barriers and spears of metal midair. Together, they fought like two halves of the same storm. Sarath watched from the ridge, her voice commanding over the comms. "Incoming reinforcements from orbit. You must finish quickly." Eli destroyed another drone and shouted back, "We're trying!" Lyra extended her hands, merging her energy with his. For a brief moment, the blue and gold lights fused into one, a beam so bright it shattered the entire enemy formation. Silence followed. The drones fell, their systems fried. Eli exhaled, sweat dripping from his brow. That was incredible, Lyra smiled weakly. Now I see why they call you the Prime. He frowned. How do you know that name? She pointed to the sky. Because I've been dreaming of you since the Corps chose me. A warning from the stars before he could answer, the clouds above parted. A massive shadow fell across the ruins. An Eidolon ship, larger than anything they'd seen before, appeared in orbit. Its voice thundered through the atmosphere. 2 cores detected, synchronization at 38%. Proceeding to assimilation. Sarath's voice came over the comm. Eli, we must leave now. The Ethereum's engines roared overhead, breaking through the clouds. Sarath extended a platform beam, pulling both humans up through the air. As the ship rose, beams of red energy from the Eidolon vessel fired toward them. The shields barely held. Lyra stumbled, clutching her chest. It's calling to me again. It wants to merge. Eli grabbed her shoulders. Fight it. Don't let it control you. Her eyes flashed gold, then dimmed. The ship lurched violently as Sarath screamed, Hold on! The Ethereum jumped to light speed just as the Eidolon blast struck the ground, vaporizing the ruins below. The New Alliance minutes later, silence filled the cabin. The ship drifted among distant stars. Lyra sat weakly beside Eli. I saw something in the machine's mind before we escaped, she said. A signal. It's gathering all the other bearers. Some willingly. Eli's face hardened. Then they're building an army. Sarath turned from the control panel. We must gather ours first. You are the Prime. The others will follow you, if they believe. Eli stared at the starlit window. His reflection glowed faintly blue. Then we find them. All of them. Before the machines do. Lyra smiled faintly. You sound like a leader. He didn't smile back. I'm not a leader. I'm just the first fool who touched the wrong treasure. Sarath placed a hand on his shoulder. Perhaps. But now humanity stands at the center of destiny again. Outside the viewport, distant stars pulsed, 13 in total, each brighter than before. The gathering had begun. And somewhere beyond the edge of known space, another human bearer, eyes black as void, whispered to the machines, Let them come. I've already chosen my side. The galaxy burned with light. Across 1,000 systems, blue and gold flares erupted as the heart cores awakened one by one. Every bearer, human or alien, felt the same pull, the same whisper in their minds. The Eidolon network had returned, and it demanded one thing: unity or extinction. On the edge of the known galaxy, the ancient ship Ethereum drifted toward the storm of stars. Inside, the air hummed with power. Eli Ward, the Prime Corps' human bearer, stood at the center of the command deck. The glow from his veins now reached his neck, his eyes shining like twin stars. The core inside him pulsed faster every hour, alive, aware and waiting. Beside him stood Lyra Chen, her golden light flickering faintly, and Mistress Sarath, her silver armor cracked but her spirit unbroken. Together, they had gathered 6 of the 13 human bearers. The others were gone or had chosen another path. The signal is coming from the dead system, Sarath said, pointing to the screen. That's where the machine nexus lies. The final core is calling them all. Eli's jaw tightened. Then that's where we end it. The machine world. When the Ethereum exited hyperspace, the crew fell silent. Before them floated a planet made entirely of metal. Its surface glowed with red rivers of energy. Giant towers reached into space, each shaped like a blade. Lightning arced between them, forming a web of power. Lyra whispered, It's beautiful and terrifying. Eli could feel the heart core in his chest trembling, and not from fear, but from recognition. It's alive, he said softly. This world is a machine. A mind, Sarath nodded grimly. The Eidolon Prime, it created the cores, it wants them back. Suddenly, alarms flared. Thousands of signals appeared on the scanners. Ships, drones, and massive constructs rising from the planet's surface. They know we're here, Lyra said. Eli turned to her and the others. Then it's time. He placed his hand on the ship's core console. Blue light spread across the Ethereum like veins through a living creature. Every weapon, every shield, every engine responded as if the ship were part of him. Let's show them what humanity really means, Eli said. The sky burns, the battle began. From the surface, the Eidolon swarm ascended like a storm. Millions of mechanical wings, drones, and war machines, each moving with perfect unity. The Etherean dove straight into the chaos, blue fire erupting from its cannons. Lyra linked her own core to the targeting systems, creating golden shields that shimmered like sunlight. Sarath commanded the strategy, her voice calm but sharp. "Flank the towers!" The central pulse controls them all. Explosions tore through the void. Beams of light clashed. The sky became a battlefield of gods. Eli felt the core inside him surge. It whispered, "Take control. End them all." For a moment, the power tempted him to destroy everything, even the planet below. But then he remembered Earth. He remembered his sister's laughter, the promise he made to protect, not conquer. He clenched his fists. "No, I'm still human." He directed the energy outward, not as a weapon of rage, but of balance. The ship's weapons changed. Instead of destroying, they disarmed. Waves of blue light disabled entire drone fleets without killing them. Lyra watched in awe. "You're controlling it without losing yourself." Eli smiled faintly. "For now." The betrayal. Just as the tide turned, a new signal appeared, bright and cold. Another human ship emerged from hyperspace. Its markings were human, but its energy was not. Eli's heart sank. No. The comms activated. A dark figure appeared on the screen. A man with eyes black as void. "I'm Adrian Holt," he said calmly, "bearer of the final core. The machines chose me, the true evolution of humanity." Lyra stepped forward. "You're wrong." "They're using you," Adrian smiled. "They're freeing us. You and the others still cling to weakness, to emotion, to flesh. The future doesn't need hearts, only order." Behind him, a massive Eidolon construct emerged, shaped like a human, but made of pure light and steel. Sarath whispered. He merged with it. "He became one of them," Adrian raised his hand. "Join me, Eli. Together we can end the chaos forever." Eli's core flared violently, drawn toward Adrian's. The ship trembled as if the universe itself was being pulled apart. Eli shouted back, "If order means losing what makes us human, then I'd rather die fighting for it." The final choice, the machine world, cracked open. From its core, a beam of red light shot into the sky, connecting to both Eli and Adrian. Their powers collided, turning space into a storm of energy. Lyra screamed as the Etherean shook apart. "Eli, you'll tear yourself apart!" He heard her, but the voices inside his head grew louder. Countless memories, human and alien, machine and soul. The heart core wasn't just power. It was memory. The story of every being who ever lived. Then, for the first time, Eli understood. The machines didn't want destruction. They wanted balance. A mind that could hold both logic and emotion, machine and heart. He looked across the storm at Adrian. "You think perfection means control, but perfection means choice." Eli opened his arms, letting the core inside him merge with the energy around them. Light poured out of him, flooding both the machine world and the swarm. Adrian shouted, "You can't stop evolution." Eli's voice echoed across the void. "No, I'm evolution, the humankind." The blue and red lights collided in a blinding flash, after the storm silence. When the light faded, the machine world was gone, reduced to dust and quiet metal drifting through the void. The Eidolon network had shut down. On the bridge of the half-destroyed Etherean, Sarath and Lyra stood among flickering consoles. "Eli?" Lyra whispered. A faint glow appeared near the viewport. Slowly, Eli stepped out of the light. Alive, his eyes no longer glowing, but calm. The core's energy was gone, yet its mark remained faintly on his skin. Sarath exhaled. "You did it." He looked at them both, tired but peaceful. "The cores are gone." Their energy spread through the stars, free, not controlled. Lyra smiled. "You saved the galaxy." Eli shook his head. "No. I just reminded it what it means to feel." Outside the window, the stars flickered gently, as if breathing again after centuries of silence. Sarath turned to him. "What now, human?" He looked at the endless expanse ahead. "Now, we rebuild, not as machines, not as gods, as people, together." The Etherean turned slowly toward the distant light of a blue planet, Earth. And far behind, in the ruins of the machine world, A single spark flickered to life again. A tiny voice whispered through the dark, "We have learned from you, human. Next time we will feel too."